I'm curious as to hear your thoughts about what I've been pondering. We've today talked about the element, for instance, about digitalization. We've talked about our shifting demographies. We did that in a way also last year or the year before. Those challenges are not per se new. But recently, it seems that we should have been talking about democracy or trust as well, because these elements are also highly explosive for the future of health in Europe. What are your thoughts on suddenly having so many more things that we should be working hard to solve?
Yes, thank you, Lars. I think for me, for my patients, I see every day. I'm a researcher, but also I work at the wards every day to treat patients. So from my very heart, I would love to see much more literacy for patients, much more better managing therapies for patients. Patients are lost, especially cancer patients, in their whole trajectory of their treatment. It's horrible to see them confused. They don't know what to do. They get so many different opinions. They go from doctor to doctor and get different opinions. They can't decide how to get treated. They don't know how to manage their treatment. If they are alone and don't have any friends or family, they are lost in the system and lost in transition and everything. There is, it feels, for me, it feels like a huge net, and they fall through the net and nobody cares for them. So my biggest wish is that we find solutions for supporting patients that might not only be cancer patients, all patients in the world, to help them to get more support on managing their journey.
And to follow up on that, I think we also need to find a ways to support the healthcare professionals. You know, we develop in the research and innovation actions, we develop so many, and also elsewhere, we develop so many fantastic innovations. But I think, and they should, you know, help healthcare professional on their journey. But we see that they're often quite disruptive, and I think we haven't found a way yet to, or we are trying to find the ways how to integrate those solutions. And my wish is also to think about education for healthcare professionals. You know, I'm also like comparing this sometimes to the car mechanics. Like, you know, car mechanics are learning about the diesel motors and the benzene motors, but now the car mechanics probably need to be engineers who know about the electric cars. And I think the same applies to the healthcare professionals, that, you know, it's the training needs to change with the solutions that are available. Yesterday was this big discussion on LinkedIn, and I saw that, you know, what happens with the data that the doctors put to ChatGPT, and then no one knows, you know, like, so people are using it already, but then no one knows. So a lot of different issues related, but I think education and support to healthcare professionals.
So you're saying doctors are using ChatGPT?
Apparently, I think what came out from the LinkedIn, but, you know, LinkedIn is global, obviously. It might be, you know, it's not necessary in my doctor from, you know, my GP for healthcare center, but apparently they are using, but then, and, you know, it's helpful, but now, and actually it came out like people were asking me, and what happens with the text that I put for, you know, proofreading in ChatGPT? What is happening with the data? And like, I think no one knows.
Maybe just as we start the discussion on education and literacy and so on, because that's also my feeling is that, and I think we all agree on this, the digital tools are tools first and foremost, and they can, you know, they will not change the philosophy, they will not change they will enable the way we do things faster and maybe in improved matter. But I think the narrative needs to change, and I think for me this is also this transformation. You know, if we talk about the digital transformation, it is the change of mindset, mind shift in a way. So I think that's very important also to maybe kind of like bring in this in this platform, that kind of like what we can contribute. Of course, some people are technologists. I certainly am not. And you know, in a way, I also don't care where you know, kind of like the text that I'm using for ChatGPT goes. What I care about now that I just recently learned that it's taking 5 gallons of water because for one prompt. I think this is a bigger issue that we need to also kind of like then maybe bring closer to the public. But back on the education, I think it's also, I teach at the medical faculty also in Slovenia. And I see that kind of like we teach the students the same way as we have done it for the past 80 years. Yeah, we then bring the simulations, we have new models and so on. But we don't bring kind of like new perspectives. And I think part of the medical or health professionals education should be, again, what I said before, to keep people healthier and healthy outside what you mentioned, Stephanie, with regard to the prevention, promotion. We don't invest in that. You know, public health is one of the least sexy courses in the medical studies. So is there a way that we can change this? And I was recently in the webinar that was organized by the WHO and the Austrian Institute of Public Health on social prescribing. And I was very inspired to hear that actually in the UK, there are already more than 80 medical schools that are having, you know, kind of like part of the curricula, the social prescribing. This is in the Central Europe, or at least kind of like in where I'm active, far from reality. So this is something that I feel that, you know, can be the combination then also with kind of like changing the narrative or the story.
Yes, thank you so much, Eva, and also Carolina, for your educational discussion. That's what I wanted to, to support as well. I do a lot of education for patients, also students, of course, at university, and also for many upcoming healthcare professionals, because they don't know how to handle cancer patients or whatever. So they have to learn the skills, and they have the skills, but only basic skills. And of course, also the research part should be completely renewed, I think. It's not the right methods we are making use of now, because we have so many big data, but we don't use them. And we don't work on this real-time, real-world data we have every day in the clinic. So for me, it's always a challenge to write a study protocol, an ethical approval, and all this big journey until you publish data takes you 5 to 10 years. And after 10 years, you read about some data or some research effects of the research. You read about that 10 years later, but it's not the same time you're living in. So for me, this is very bad basics. We have to find new solutions for research methods. It's not in the time to use the old ones anymore for me.
We are planning a new members meet for new members next month as well. You are very welcome to join that one. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much. Thanks for organizing this.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you for creating a space.